Welcome to Larkspur.
Nestled in natural beauty, watched over by old mountain. A big king, little king, underneath the blue sky, mapping out the lay of the land. Gentle as the tide at the creekside, balmy as the breeze from the bay. Welcome to a town where nature still abounds. Seems like everything is coming your way. Living in Larkspur, there's a beautiful world at your front door. Living here in Larkspur, tucked between the mountains and the old creek shore.
In the 18-mile drive from San Francisco, the visitor to Larkspur passes through a time warp, making a rapid transition from 101 along the tree-lined boulevards of Corte Madera, past snug homes and well-tended gardens, to the town itself. Larkspur in 1985 is a small town in the best sense of the word. The people who have been attracted to Larkspur span all ages and come from all walks of life. The love of their small town binds together the 12,000 people who call Larkspur home. Longtime townspeople like Laura Lee Westaway have special memories.
It's been wonderful being here at the Baskin-Robbins store on Magnolia Avenue in Larkspur. We've been here so that the 12-year-olds that I saw when they were small children are now the 17-year-olds who are working for me. And there's a wonderful small-town feeling in Larkspur. I see the same children coming in.
Dale Eubanks grew up in Larkspur.
Larkspur still has a small-town attitude. The neighbors, the area, our involvement with Little League has been going on for now 30-plus years.
George Schneider first moved here in 1921.
I enjoy the town, and the walking in the morning is fun because it's quiet. Only a few people are out, and I know most of them, at least by sight.
Liz Boyd has shared her talents with neighbors.
It's just a wonderful community. I think that Larkspur is a very special place. It's beautiful, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I've really met some of the most marvelous women, and for that 5 hours that we paint here together, women bring their lunch, and we have coffee, and we chat.
In downtown Larkspur, Charlie Young recalls.
It has been a great feeling being in business in downtown Larkspur in, 36, 37 years. I've watched maybe 5, 6 generations of kids come down that street, come in for sandwiches. Then they built St. Patrick's School, and now we've seen maybe 2 or 3 generations of kids come out of there.
Jim Walker has a special feeling about the people he meets.
It's so darn nice to be a member of the community, especially a business member. The people are neat. It's nice to go down and go to work and look forward to going to work and just start waving to people going by. They'll honk their horns. It gives you kind of a warm feeling.
Where it's wonderful to know your neighbors and the folks on down the street. Chatting at the butcher's, rapping at the barber shop. Here's a howdy do when you meet. Working in the garden on Sunday. Here's a cutting from my favorite tree. Hey, thanks for the petunias. Thanks for asking Junior to come and mow the lawn for me. Living in Larkspur, there's a beautiful world at your front door. Living here in Larkspur, tucked between the mountains and the old creek shore.
Larkspur is proud of its tradition as a small town. That pride bursts forth yearly on the 4th of July. Neighbors get together to build floats for the parade. Friends, parents, and children watch for familiar faces. Hard-working citizens get recognition.
There she is, Jackie Green. Right behind there is Catherine Eubanks, Larkspur citizens of the year.
Local politicos arrive for the big event.
Now when the summertime comes to Larkspur, it's sure to bring the 4th of July. That's when the whole town gathers around the old downtown, cooking up American pie. Banners in the breeze and the bands blow free, and the floats roll through the crowd. Here comes another band, let's give them all a hand. Don't it make it feel so proud to be living in Larkspur? There's a beautiful world at your front door. Living here in Larkspur, tucked between the mountains and the old creek shore.
The step from watching the parade to blending into the town is a simple one. Newcomers to Larkspur find it easy to set down their roots and get involved in the community. David Mahler recalls his environmental efforts.
When development was proposed for King Mountain, it seemed like a natural to get involved. I was really impressed with the number of people that came to that first town meeting. It made it clear that there was really no them and us, but it was just us all working together for the good of the community.
Laura Moe's interest was in her children's schools.
Became involved in school activities when the decision to close LCM as a public school was made. I wanted to continue my involvement with these neat people that I had met by being down at the school. I guess that was a natural focal point at that time. And one way that I was allowed to and even begged to was through the PTA hot dog program, and through the serving lunches once every 6 weeks. I came to know a wonderful bunch of women and also their children.
Julie Jensen and her husband Chuck got involved through Scouts and Little League.
Well, Little League, I guess, has been a part of our life for 9 years. When you live in a small town with 3 boys, you naturally get involved and made a lot of very good friends from sitting on the stands with them.
Larkspur has attracted a diverse population. The variety of dwellings reflects this. Larkspur residents, old and new, have a wilderness area in their backyard. Within its 3.2 square miles, Larkspur offers redwood groves, an old logging trail in Baltimore Canyon, follows the creek through the forest floor to a footpath up to Dawn Falls. Larkspur has miles of hiking trails, bird-filled marshes, and a broad flowing creek. Glimpses of wildlife are common. The very attributes that make Larkspur a most desirable place to live were true thousands of years ago, when the San Quentin Peninsula attracted the Coast Miwok Indians. They hunted on its shores and along the marshes near Heather Gardens. 83-year-old Sam Gardner remembers.
Some features that, of course, came into being long before I was born were quite evident in my early childhood, much more evident than now. For example, the shell mounds left by Indians were very extensive. It tells a great deal about the Indian use of this area. For example, the block between Monte Vista and Holcomb, and between Baltimore Avenue and William, is one solid shell mound. The entire Heather Gardens area, every inch of high land, every inch of the flat land was shell mound. And this extended down to the vicinity of the Niven Gardens that now exist.
Larkspur had other desirable resources. In the 1840s, the demand for building materials in San Francisco brought lumbermen to Larkspur. Mills were built at Magnolia and Doherty and north of the Oak on West Baltimore.
I don't know whether an adequate conception has been conveyed about the redwoods in this area.
No, we didn't have that either.
The redwoods in this area were obviously much bigger, much better, and much more extensive than Muir Woods. 10 times as great as that.
20 years later, when the hills were cleared of timber, the land attracted ranchers and farmers. On a knoll where Niven Nursery is today, rancher Jonathan Bickerstaff built the first permanent home. In 1869, the area known today as Old Larkspur and Kent Woodlands was purchased by dairy farmer Patrick King and cattle rancher William Murray. William Murray's granddaughter, Estelle Peterson, retains treasures from the past.
Well, this is the original deed.
This actually says here that for the 1,233 and 75/100ths acres, they paid $4,500 in gold coin of the United States.
This is the original map of grandfather's section. He and his partner, Patty King, bought 1,223 acres of land between them. Grandfather chose the northern half, and Patty King chose the southern half, which comprises now the town of Larkspur.
The land at the south end of town became the country estate of gentleman rancher Frank Pixley, who expanded the orchards and gardens of Owlswood in Chevy Chase. Thousands of grapes thrived on hillsides owned by Jean Escal, who made daily wine deliveries around the county in a wagon drawn by Pedro the horse.
Of course, Escal had a considerable vineyard that had been planted all over the hills nearby. It was a very substantial operating vineyard when I was a kid.
In 1887, the open meadows and second growth redwoods of Larkspur attracted its first developer, C.W. Wright. He had conducted a search of the whole Bay Area for the most desirable property to buy. His choice was Patrick King's 600 acres that he bought for about $21,000. The town was surveyed and lots 100 by 150 feet sold for $200 to $500. The Dollivers built a home at the mouth of the canyon. Victorian homes sprang up. The North Pacific Coast Railroad built a station in 1891, and the name Larkspur was given to the town. The railroad selected it over the name Greystone. A school was built in 1894 for the growing population. Larkspur became a popular summer resort for San Franciscans seeking an escape from summer fogs, with a small core of residents staying year-round.
Marin was a place for summer visitors, and only elite from San Francisco came over. Well, it was very famous because they had great chicken dinners, and the people would go swimming in the creeks. They had bathhouses out in the slough.
A 100-room resort hotel was built by Wright at the end of Sycamore.
Where the Marin General Hospital is, there was the Bon Air Hotel there. The swimming pool was where the palm trees are.
Bon Air Hotel was a place which I merely saw from Magnolia. It was reputed to be a very evil place. Businessmen from San Francisco brought the secretaries over there. It was a very evil place.
The Hotel Larkspur was in the heart of downtown. Then in 1906, the famous earthquake and fire struck San Francisco. Many people escaped to Larkspur and pitched tents in Madrone Canyon. When the aftershocks stopped, many decided to stay and build. The Doherty Lumberyard opened for business on the east side of Magnolia Avenue. Frank Murphy took over the former blacksmith shop and ran a drayage and delivery business.
That operation, together with Frank Murphy's operation in the place that is now the Silver Peso, were very intriguing to me as a kid. I used to bring our horses down and have them shod.
After a facelift, the Hotel Larkspur became the Blue Rock.
They faced it with blue rock, which was brought down the Baltimore Canyon. Wagons, horse-drawn wagons. It was quarried on the hillside of Piedmont. It had an evil reputation also. Upstairs was operated supposedly for other purposes, but it was operated as a hotel and a bar.
Across Ward Street, Gus Frizzy's Exchange sold beer for 5 cents a glass. On San Quentin Peninsula, the Remillard Brickyard molded bricks around the clock to help rebuild San Francisco. More children meant the need for more classrooms. In 1910, a stucco addition enlarged the original wood-framed school. Booster Day parades were organized to promote the town. Incorporated in 1908, Larkspur dedicated its new city hall in 1913. The experience of the San Francisco earthquake and fire made the new community fearful of fires. They determined to have the best equipment available. A firehouse was built in 1911, but was soon outgrown. To raise the money for better equipment and a firehouse in which to house it, the Rose Bowl dances were organized. Fire Chief Bill Lellis recounts.
They started the street dances at the site of the Chevron station in downtown, and became very successful.
Relocated on Kane Street in a redwood grove, the Rose Bowl's hardwood dance floor was surrounded by a rose-covered fence and became more than just a fundraiser.
And of course there was the Rose Bowl that we loved dearly.
Longtime resident Miriam Austin fondly recalls the fun of the dances.
I can remember dancing there, and the average attendance was about 2,000, sometimes bigger than that. And Larkspur was simply flooded with people on the weekends. The town was just jumping Saturday nights. And it was fun. The summer schedule that way out under the big redwood trees. Big dance floor and good bands.
People came from the city and from all over. And during the war, they had the highest attendance. And then people would say, oh, they've been to Larkspur. Oh, did you go to the Rose Bowl? You know, it was very famous.
We finally closed it in '62. But with the receipts from the dances on Saturday, the volunteers bought all the equipment, built the firehouse, paid all the salary of the firefighters. There were 3 firemen on duty. They paid their salary. And until 1956.
Many of the dancers appreciated the charm and balmy climate of Larkspur and moved here. The good rose-growing climate of Larkspur was appreciated by James Niven, who built his glass and metal hothouses a few blocks off of Magnolia to grow camellias and cymbidium and cattleyas orchids for wholesale markets in the city. Changes in Larkspur were gradual in the early years. Baltimore Park was opened for development in 1910, followed by Palm Hill, Murray Park, and Chevy Chase in the 30s. The Northwestern Pacific Railroad was expanded with a 3rd rail in 1903, and new residents commuted to San Francisco on this efficient system. In its heyday in the 1920s, 52 trains left Sausalito daily to travel different routes through Marin.
You know, it was fun. You get on the train and ride to Sausalito, get on the ferry boat, go to the city, get on the streetcar and go uptown and shop. It was exciting.
Brothers used to sometimes come on the train from San Francisco and go all the way down to Escal. Instead of getting off at Baltimore Park, they'd get down there and have a drink or two at Escal's and then walk home from there.
Until the opening of the Golden Gate Bridge in 1937, Larkspur remained a modest rural community, as Miriam Austin remembers.
When we moved down here, Highway 101 didn't exist as it does now. The old Corte Madera grade was the main highway. And I can remember coming home from sort of like a weekend holiday when the traffic had backed up at Petaluma.
City Councilwoman Joan Lubermersky recalls living here in the 40s.
Someplace that I used to play was the Alexander Bridge area. We'd pick blackberries, and then we'd go down to the railroad tracks and put pebbles along the tracks. And then we'd climb up on this fence and watch for the train to go by.
City Clerk Nancy Anthony remembers her childhood.
I remember a really comfortable childhood. I was never afraid here. I can remember when I was real little, the police department was in the downstairs building of City Hall.
Former Larkspur Police Chief Howard Clark patrolled the city in the early 40s.
I was approached by one of the members of the City Council, Ray Mullen, and asked if I wanted to be a policeman. They were thinking that they needed to expand and have more than just a one-man police department. And I accepted the job, all of $150 a month. I'm not sure that I had any police work to do. It was just keeping the peace, looking around. Mostly it was a barking dog or something of that nature.
Now the old folks remember the old days, clip-clopping down the county roads, or going down to the station to meet their relations when the railroad whistles blow. And sometimes late in the evening, you could still hear the echoes call. There was plenty romance at the fireman's dance, the boogie at the old Rose Bowl, living in Larkspur. There's a beautiful world at your front door, living here in Larkspur, tucked between the mountains and the old creek shore.
World War II brought more people to Marin. The workers at Marin Ship needed housing, which was in short supply.
Heather Gardens was the outcrop of the war efforts. The people began to come in and rented. This was a summer town, and all of the summer cottages rented out. And there was just no other place for them to live. So a fellow by the name of Vanson came over here and started building Heather Gardens. $3,900 a house, and he made those row houses down there. Everyone was amazed at these houses sitting so close together, because before that no one built next to your neighbor.
In mid-1945, over in Greenbrae, development was also taking place. Neil Schultz recalls his father's acquisition of the old Greenbrae Ranch on Sir Francis Drake Boulevard.
And my father was thinking of post-war activities anyway. Came over here and took a look at it and jumped down and saw the broker for the Archbishop of San Francisco. It was about 635 acres altogether. Well, it was about $200,000 at that time. For the county planning staff, why the idea of that big an area going into multifamily residential was just out of the question. And we tried Larkspur, and they didn't have any commitment one way or the other, and were willing to take a look, and so we started by annexing the Bon Air Hill area.
The annexation of the Schultz property, and it brought in a different type of residents here, a higher class residents really, and it changed just from the shipyard type employee to those who were more, the business type men, the lawyers, the doctors, and all of them came into the new development out there, and it changed the picture of this area. That was the big growth then, and from there it started to grow.
All school was built, as was Redwood High School, opening up Doherty Drive. The town grew with no specific plan and the silent approval of the residents.
When I first came to Larkspur in '58, it was like 5,000 people. No stop signs, no stoplights. The downtown, as you see it now, is pretty much the same way it was then. A few more coffee shops maybe then than there is now. And it was a very, very quiet life.
In the 1960s, the construction of the Tamalpais Retirement Center broke the quiet when people turned out 200 strong to protest.
We had all kinds of hearings about that and tremendous opposition to it. Lots of people thought, as I did, that it was so much better to have 100 people in 100 rooms in a single high-rise than it was to have 100 single-family dwellings scattered all over the country. But they had a big battle about this and some large town meetings.
The city council shared Sam Gardner's sentiments and approved the project. Skylark Apartments were approved next. The bulldozing of Doherty Hill for the Alpha Beta, now Lucky, shopping center followed. Larkspur Isle brought a dense development next to downtown. Between 1960 and 1970, Larkspur's population almost doubled from 5,700 to 10,487. Larkspur's newcomers became concerned because they were seeing the very qualities that had attracted them to Larkspur begin to disappear. The creek was being walled in by apartments, the hills were being bulldozed and stacked with buildings. The final straw was a proposal to grade off 40 feet from the top of Little King to fill the flatlands south of Safeway. City Manager Harlan Berry recalls.
And the city just said no. This isn't going to happen. It's detrimental to the environment.
The community no longer equated bigger with better and spoke out loudly to preserve the small-town character of Larkspur and the natural amenities of the creek, hillsides, and ridges. Citizens first organized a town meeting in 1970 and drafted recommendations for city action.
City fathers here were appalled at the thought at the time, and as a matter of fact, we were ordered not to attend the very first town meeting, so we didn't have the opportunity to participate. It was the beginning of meaningful citizen input. It was an incredible turnaround, the first broad-based citizen involvement on a comprehensive basis in this community.
The result was the General Plan of 1973 that championed Larkspur's small-town character and the preservation of its natural setting. Future growth and open space were pinpointed for specific areas.
It also just brought us into the 20th century in terms of planning.
The city council members who were subsequently elected reflected the new thinking. However, over the years, the places where jackrabbits could run have been filled in. Fire Chief Bill Lellis remembers.
We lived on Bonnier Hill, and I remember taking my two oldest daughters when they were like 3 and 4, and we used to hike up on and look for rabbits up on the top of the hill up on here, which now is the site of a 13-story high-rise.
Today, the approach is different than in the days of the Tamalpais Retirement Center. Councilwoman Karen Kunze remembers.
I recall when I first moved to Larkspur, before I was on any of the boards or on the council, coming down to a meeting regarding the Bon Air shopping center area. And at that time, Roush was proposing a development, and it was immense. And this little city hall was just full of people who cared and were talking about the issues. And they kept coming as long as the issue was not being satisfied to their content. And now we see the development going on out there, and it was a plan that the community put together. It wasn't a developer's plan, it wasn't a planning commission's plan, it wasn't a city council plan. Everybody together put it together. And I think that's how we've dealt with change and progress, is everybody working together on it.
In 1972, in downtown Larkspur, some positive changes were taking place. The former gas station, automobile garage, and Victorian house were transformed into the Lark Creek complex of shops and restaurants. However, controls were needed. Larkspur Heritage Committee, an outgrowth of the Historical Society, was formed and inventoried the city's historic resources and wrote its history. Lelia Langto comments.
We drafted a heritage preservation ordinance that was adopted in 1978, establishing the official Heritage Preservation Board to review proposed changes to landmarks and historic buildings.
Nancy Curley explains.
Because we were representative of small California towns at the turn of the century, Larkspur's downtown was designated an historic district and included on the National Register of Historic Places in 1982.
The historic status has been effective in the repair of the Lark Theater marquee, the facelifting of other buildings, and the construction of a new building that echoes the character of the original structure. Magnolia Avenue was freed from a jumble of wires when the utilities were undergrounded. Street trees now grow in place of power poles. City Hall was remodeled to install an elevator and handicap access, which opened the way for a redesign of the library space, enhancing its historic character. Thanks to the efforts of library board members, such as Phil Terry and Helen Brenlin and others, the remodeled library enhanced the old while accommodating more books.
I kind of wanted some kind of place to sit down when I came in here to read through a book. And so we got to talking about the old libraries that people had in the stately old homes and the parlor kind of aspect to it. Someplace that if you had an old house and you had your own private library, this would be like the room in which your library was.
Even though we're small, I think we're one of the most beautiful libraries that I've seen. It's really turned out very nicely for us.
While changes have come to Larkspur, its residents have also preserved remnants of the past, so today people have a sense of how people lived at the turn of the century. A time capsule that had been placed under a corner of City Hall at its dedication in 1913 was opened at the city's 75th birthday celebration in 1983. As former Larkspur librarian and city clerk Helen Wilson had predicted, the capsule contained Ralph McLaren's baby booties, a Rose Bowl token, merchant's business cards, a Meet Me in Larkspur July 4, 1913 button, and other treasures which are now on display in City Hall. On a larger scale, some landmarks disappeared. Larkspur Landing now exists on the site of the old Hutchison Quarry. The building looked precarious, but its solid concrete walls required dynamite to bring them down. On the other hand, the Remillard Brickyard Superintendent's Cottage was hauled to a new location within Larkspur Landing. Now located at the park, the house is being used as a nursery school and community center and provides an echo of the past. The Remillard brick kiln and stack, built in 1891, were placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1978 and designated a state historical landmark. Efforts are being made to stabilize the stack and preserve the kiln. In the future, the old railroad electric booster substation may become a railroad museum. Preservation efforts have extended to Larkspur's natural resources. Tub Lake and Miwok Park on San Quentin Peninsula were dedicated to the city for open space as part of the approval of development plans. Dedication of marsh and creekside lands will be required as part of any development approvals on creekside between Safeway and the Mount Tam Racket Club. The Corte Madera Creek frontage has been upgraded. The pocket parks along South Alicio have secured access for the public to the creek. Bike paths connect one end of town with the other and link into the county system. The 40-acre Piper Park was built over a former county dump and boasts a restored marsh. Baseball diamonds, tennis courts, a community garden, soccer fields, even a cricket lawn.
Jogging up and down the back road, or hiking on a mountain path. Cycle to the soccer field, the baseball, tennis court, circle round Piper Park. Pedal to Larkspur Landing, windsurfing at the ferry's heels, or strolling down the sidewalk. Look out for the skateboards, people love to spin their wheels, living in Larkspur. There's a beautiful world at your front door. Living here in Larkspur, tucked between the mountains and the old creek shore.
Preservation of Larkspur's visual backdrop and open spacelands became a prime goal in the late 1970s. When the Northridge bond issue failed, the community banded together with the county, Mill Valley, Corte Madera, and the Marin Conservation League to purchase 357 acres. Today, citizens are again eyeing open spacelands for purchase.
At the same time, the citizens came forward and said, we would like to buy out the property because we'd like it to stay the way it is.
The tricky balancing of the old and the new in Larkspur has so far been successful. Older neighborhoods are changing. 20s and 30s bungalows and Spanish-style homes are being updated. William Murray's home was moved to a new location to allow its continuation into its second century. 40s and 50s tract homes are being enlarged for today's families. Even redwood cabins in the canyon retain their charm, but now have kitchens with disposals and microwave ovens. Few buildable lots remain. The median value of a home in 1960 was $22,000. In 1980, it was $194,000. The demographics of Larkspur are changing. The median age is slightly over 40 years. Larkspur has the highest proportion of people over 60 in the county. The median household size is 1.94 persons, with only 31% of married couples having children. However, Larkspur has a high proportion of baby boom mothers who are now deciding to have families, and so demographics may be changing again. Despite shifts in the profiles of the community, there has been a consistent stability. There is a low turnover in real estate sales, and even renters become 10 and 12-year residents. In 1965, 80% of the city was single-family homes. Today, 65% of the city is multiple units, which house professionals, single parents, and families. The overall trend in the aging of the community and the declining family size have impacted local schools. Historic Larkspur Corte Madera School was forced to close as a public elementary school in 1982, but still serves the community as a private school.
Community grows and changes as the years go by. A tremendous number of people have moved, houses been sold over and over, that sort of thing. On the other hand, as the families that stayed grew older, of course, their children grew up, left, and we got to the point where there were very few children around. To my delight, the last two places that have sold close to me have small children, babies.
So it's starting
so
over
that
again.
it's sort of starting over again.
Just as the changing of night into day is an essential dynamic of life, so change is an essential dynamic of a town. Can Larkspur continue to preserve its small-town character and unique physical and natural setting? Its narrow, winding streets can once again be overwhelmed and choked. Traffic will be a major problem. Police Chief Phil Green remarks.
What I do think will be lost in some of the city character deals primarily with traffic, and I can only foresee that being a more major problem, and maybe to a point too where the only thing that we're going to be able to get through traffic to emergency situations is a motorized police officer on a motorcycle.
The city has already paid a price for its growth so far.
I used to hike all over the mountain alone. That sort of freedom and feeling of complete safety and confidence I do miss.
Corte Madera and Larkspur have merged for a more efficient police force. One of their goals is more community contact.
And the officers periodically will stop, maybe park in a downtown area, walk up and down Magnolia, talk to some of the citizens, drop in on emergency, see how things are going. Same thing with Larkspur Landing and some of the other shopping complexes.
Its officers meet with neighborhood and school groups. They even initiated a bicycle patrol. Officer Al Jensen comments.
The program was very successful in that there hasn't been an incident on the railroad right-of-way for many years. Officer Olson, myself, and Officer D. Miguel ride all the campuses and bike paths and try to keep in touch with the merchants and various townspeople along our way.
The interaction of people in the community makes the difference in Larkspur. On January 4th, 1982, major floods hit Larkspur, making international headlines. Mudslides washed away one home and filled others with debris. Neighbors and friends pitched in with shovels to help dig out the mud and salvage household belongings. Larkspur is widely recognized as being special.
I don't know of any other city just like it. I guess that's why it's unique. I like the character of Larkspur.
The thing that is so different about any other community is that to a person, that the people I've been associated with, and I'm sure there's hundreds of them, have never had anything but Larkspur's best interests in mind.
I think it is the most perfect place for good weather. We're surrounded by these hills and a mountain. Weather-wise, it's magnificent.
My generation has seen greater change than the whole history of humanity. From dirt roads, no electric lights, and no sewers, and no running water, very crude telephones, down to what we have today. Immense change. And anybody who says this isn't better than that is dreaming. This is better.
However, there are constants. The changing pattern of the seasons brings the magnolia tree into bloom every spring. Little leaguers ride through town every April. Our parade struts and oompahs down Magnolia every 4th of July. Downtown Larkspur holds an open house every November. Change, progress, and preservation can be reconciled. Joan Lubomirsky is convinced.
We, council, commissioners, staff, citizens, have a common vision of what this city is and should be.
Mayor Malvino summarizes how Larkspur has dealt with change.
We have been blessed with people on our commissions as well as our council that have had good common sense and have listened to what the people have had to say and have gone from there.
In terms of will Larkspur be able to, reconcile development pressures? Yes, I think we will.
We've kept the appearance on the main street. They've tried to retain the look of the old town, and I like it. It's still beautiful when you drive through. There's just these 2 or 3 blocks, and it looks the same.
The citizens of Larkspur feel strongly about the small town essence of Larkspur. They are willing to work to preserve its nature backdrop of wooded hills.
As Ward and I traveled all over the world, we never found any place we'd rather live than right here.
The thing that is unique, that I see, and I base it on what I see around the state, is the people that are here. So I think it's just a dedication to the community. That is the unique thing. And you can talk a lot about the physical attributes, but I think it's the people.
Let's give them all a hand. Don't it make it feel so proud to be living in Larkspur? Happy people bouncing to the beat of the band. Living here in Larkspur, where the old and new go hand in hand. Living in Larkspur, all kinds of folks, they know what it's worth. Living here in Larkspur, you got the silver peso and you got the good earth. Yeah, living in Larkspur, friendly faces wherever you roam. Living here in Larkspur, it's a friendly town and you can call it your home, your own home. Here comes another band, let's give them all a hand. Don't it make it feel so proud to be living in Larkspur? Happy people bouncing to the beat of the band. Living here in Larkspur, where the old and new go hand in hand. Living in Larkspur, all kinds of folks, they know what it's worth. Living here in Larkspur, you got the silver peso and you got the good earth. Yeah, living in Larkspur. Friendly faces wherever you roam. Living here in Larkspur. It's a friendly town and you can call it your home.